It was a race.
All right. Yes. All right. We are recording. Go for it.
That's the way I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna if I'm controlling it, I'm gonna try to sneak it up on you.
That's fine.
We're going. We've been going. We've been going
for 24 seconds, so it was definitely a race. In case you guys had just this is Formula Fools. And Terry, it's Hayden. We're going to talk about the inability of morons to drive cars around wet tracks, because that's basically what happened.
There was it was a rallycross race, or it was a Formula.
It was a rallycross race, and it was a Formula One race, and it was
Formula One. It was Formula One cars doing rallycross.
It was Group B.
A little bit, yeah.
I will go, just not like the race, but real quick is let's talk about qualifying, free practice really quickly. Glad to see that old Marzipan has the ability to spin cars no matter what the fuck is going on. Holy shit.
And I think this was further down on my notes, because he bookended the race with one, but yes. Old David Croft in the booth is not stopping having a go at our friend Marzipan.
Not at all.
He said at the end, have a glass of water. Marzipan has had another spin.
Yes.
Which I don't think he means a glass of water. I think it's a more adult beverage. Bit of
vodka. Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's, yes, there's a massive difference, and there really is, for people who really don't follow F1 or even Formula 2, Formula 3, and all those kind of things. There's a massive, massive step up between a Formula 2 and going into Formula 1. There's more power. There's less drivers. Well, there's no driver's aids. I mean, let's really be honest. There isn't. There's no anti-lock. There's no any of that. There's no traction. So a lot of times these guys do struggle getting used to it, but unfortunately it just seems to be with Marzipan. It's like it keeps coming. It's just like I lost count how many times he's spun out in.
It's been
FP1,
almost every
2 and 3.
Yeah, almost every
qualifying.
Session.
Every session he spun out, in a race he spins out, in qualifying he spun out. It's like, what you got to get a handle on that car. I mean, you have the skill level to drive Formula 2. Okay.
Well,
which means you should have that skill level to control that car. So I don't know what it is. I mean,
it's what we talked about. It's the slope of it's probably a lot of the slope of the throttle input.
Right.
Hey man, you're gonna flatten this thing out. But yeah, as much as you can bankroll a team, you probably don't want to. You want to get a handle on this at some point, or else you're actually becoming a net harm. And then somebody who also wants to drive Formula One cars and maybe has a lot of money is going to come in behind you.
Right.
And,
exactly. Right.
And buy that out.
And buy it out. So it's like, you got to get control of it. And you really do. And it's just like, as you were saying, that's a lot of money that, his father is bankrolling into Haas, which is good. I mean, I know a lot of people hate, Lance Stroll, because Lance Stroll, he just bought him a ride. Well, let's be honest. I'm not a Lance Stroll fan in any shape or form. Frankly, I basically think Lance Stroll is a Shetland pony that speaks fucking bad Canadian English. But he knows how to drive a fucking Formula One car. There's no doubt he does. Did his daddy buy him a team? No, because his dad could have bought a team and put Lance in there. He just said, well, you know what? Let's be honest. Force India was broke. The owner was a crook who is under several indictments in India. So, it's a no-brainer to buy that thing out of there and saying, well, are you running out of money staying in England? Oh, you are? Well, here's some more millions of dollars, and your team ain't yours and anymore. Lawrence didn't buy the team for Lance. He's a smart man, and it's a consortium of people. Lawrence is just one of the bigger investors. So, yes, his father is doing what he's doing. It's great for Haas because it gives him money. So we actually see another F1 team try to survive. But the way that they're going and the way that Marzipan is driving or not getting control of that car, it's starting to smell like, basically Marussia back in the day, where they were just shit. just shit. And it's like, Jesus, do we really need this shit? So I don't know. I mean, honestly, I think next year he driving that fucking car, because as you're saying, I think another investor is going to come in and say, my son actually knows how to drive this fucking thing. So, and his name is Lance. So, but I don't know. What's your whole deal with
could be. Well, first of all, what's his name? VJ Malia.
VJ Malia.
He maintains his innocence. Okay, so I don't think we should go to. I maintain my innocence.
Under indictment. Under indictment.
Canadian bastard, he buy my team, and I did nothing wrong. Okay,
I did say under indictment. Okay, I didn't say he's
That's
guilty.
True.
I said he's
That's
under
true.
indictment.
You gave him his due
gave
process.
Him the exact legal stuff that we have. He is under several indictments in India. He just doesn't want to go back.
Bullshit. The authorities, they have a problem with me. No, but you just can't. It doesn't look good. You got to get a handle on it at some point, and also just realize like you are driving a bad car. It is like, it does seem like it is the worst car on the grid because okay, give him crap for spin. Leclerc spun the Alfa Romeo.
Hell.
Sorry, what was it back? What was it back then?
It's Sauber.
Sauber, thank you.
It was Sauber, then it was Sauber Alfa Romeo, then became Alfa Romeo.
And we know what a gifted driver he is.
Yes, they all spin.
Yeah, and of course, Schumacher had the very, very slow spin down there at Aqua Minerale. I mean, you saw the replay? It was incredible. Well, it was a rallycross race, like we said.
Right, it was a rallycross. Well, yeah,
if you're not spinning, you're not winning.
Right. He just overcorrected. He was just aggressive with his tire warming under the safety car. We know somebody who did that. His name was George Russell last year.
Yeah, and we'll get to him in a bit.
Yeah, we'll get to that one.
We'll get to that one.
Revenge.
So the race opens. Max starts in second gear, which was brilliant. I guess it makes a lot now that I think about it, it makes sense, but I wouldn't have thought to do with it. No, he gets off perfectly.
Yes.
Is wheel to wheel with Lewis and then pushes him off. Was it only the rain just that made that acceptable? Because Michael Massey had no problem.
No,
he was good with it. He said, "You know what? You go on."
I watched it several times, and like the replays, and then I watched the race with a 30-minute delay, so I can just go back on the old DVD, DVR and see and see shit.
The
DVR, baby.
The DVR.
Honestly, I think it was wet, dry, middle, hot sauce, burritos. I don't care. I think that move was legit. It happens in every race practically. He wasn't argy-bargy. He wasn't just purposely coming over. He was holding the line. He had a right to the racing line. And Lewis had the right to do what he was doing too. They actually were very close at racing and respectful as hell. There was a little bit of a touch.
Well, he did. Well, there was a touch because he was taking the racing line, not the line as if he had a car on his right.
Right. I know. But
so I think he was. Yeah, I think for me it wasn't. Yeah, it was. Obviously I like the result of it, but it wasn't. I don't think it was
Lewis do the same.
Totally legit.
I've seen Lewis do the same.
And I think ultimately it was probably on. Well, wasn't it? Was it Mexico 2019 that Lewis kind of pushed Max wide in the same way?
He did push Max in the same way.
Yeah.
And they let that go.
Right.
I mean,
that was a dry race.
Hard racing. That was a dry race, and it's hard racing. It's definitely acceptable. I mean, that didn't bother me so much. I saw Max get one hell of a start, and then of course when he realized it was in second gear, you go, "Well, there's a smart man." And he had him. And Lewis knew it, and Lewis did exactly what Lewis was going to do: try to deny him the better entry and stuff like that. So it was good hard racing, and we're going to see more of that. That's the thing. So getting into it a little bit more into there. I mean, we did have a couple of spins. It was super wet, but I want to look at like when that first safety car rolled.
Yeah, okay. that was Mazepin and Latifi, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So that was 100% Latifi's fault.
100%. Yes, exactly.
100%. Mitigate.
If anybody thinks that we coordinate this, we do this podcast to talk F1. We don't talk F1 before this.
Yeah. Right.
So
exactly.
that was
so.
No, the difference on the Max one, but both think it was. There's no way that he could have seen him there, and he just locked wheels, and that was it.
The rain, the rain is the mitigating circumstance because there's so much effing spray, he really couldn't see him. So it's not like Latifi came back on the track and went, "Oh, here's that fucking Russian guy. Fuck that guy." He didn't do that, or he isn't like any of that shit. He just didn't see him. So. That happened. It kind of bad luck for both of them. Let's be honest, because I was kind of ready to see at least 5 or 6 marzipan spins somewhere around the line. I got some. I did. I got a couple of interesting ones. I did get my fill, but I kind of wanted a really good one right at the very end where he's almost there to the line and he spins and hits and he does not finish. I mean, kind of like, fucking shit, really, buddy? But when they were doing that, Gasly did not pit to take off the full wets. I do not understand that because, they could tell by those couple of laps that those full wets weren't going to do it. It wasn't the right tire to be on. And you have a safety car. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, his teammate did pit and switched out from the full, because didn't both of them start on full wets? I think both of them started on full wets.
Yeah.
And then Takuma came in. And
Takuma Sato
guy. Jesus Christ! Why did I say? Holy shit! Anyway,
Takuma Sato's back, everybody.
Takuma Sato's back, everybody. But I can't remember his fucking name now. God damn it.
Yuki Tsunoda.
Yo, Yuki. Thank you, Yuki Tsunoda. Thanks. So if I'm not mistaken, I think Yuki did come in and pit and switched over to inters, but Gasly stayed out. And I don't understand that because I think that cost Gasly.
They should have, if they wanted to mix it up, they should have done it opposite because Sato. Jesus Christ. Takuma Sato's back, everybody.
He's back again.
He's back again. He's coming off of Indy 500 win.
Yes.
And so they should have given Tsunoda if they wanted to experiment, kept him on them and not Gasly. Put Gasly on the intermediate.
Yeah.
I don't know. They just
it was
I don't know
like
what the thinking was there.
Right. I mean, it was weird because I think it cost them places. They definitely.
Oh yeah, they should have been. They had a lot more pace.
They had a lot more to much go. Better. And it's kind of like why would you do that? And poor Gasly because that's strategy and it is AlphaTauri.
Yeah, and Gasly started in 5th. Yeah,
right.
I mean, he was ahead of the McLarens, and granted, Norris did do a better time, but he got deleted.
Yes, and that actually brings up another thing we're gonna go. So that's the whole thing. They saw the data. It's not like the data was there. The data was telling them the full wet was not the tire, and you got the blessing of a effing safety car, which takes that because if most people they don't run at Imola that often. It's only second time in a long time, but that pit is big, long, okay, and it takes 27 seconds from pit entry to pit exit. It's the longest one in F1. Adding your 2
only because they don't use the endurance lane at Spa.
That's right.
They do the short one. That's the funniest pit lane ever. You're just like I've aged 5 years going down this pit lane.
Holy shit! My grandma died. It's just like that's how you feel.
You're finally like turning off the pit limiter and going up the hill at Spa. You're just like, thank God. All I can see is blue sky. I'm ready to die.
And you get an email saying your CD opened 5 years ago just matured because that's how long it fucking took you to get down pit lane. But Imola's like
you can now cash out your IRA.
All right, happy retirement day, bitch.
But yeah, it is a long one.
In total, it's almost 30 seconds. Okay, if you really think of it, it's almost 30 seconds. They were given a gift because the safety car cuts that in half.
Yeah.
So they would have lost a couple of spaces, put him on inters with everybody else where he could fight. And you could tell the track was drying out. You could tell, I'm sorry, what the fuck? But, you kind of feel bad for, for Gasly, because I'm sure he's sitting there saying, get me off these fucking tires. But with it being AlphaTauri, which is essentially Red Bull Junior, and it's basically fuck you, do what we want. It's like, shit, fuck, you fucked me, So I kind of felt bad for Gasly. That car had more in it than what was there. Bad tire choice at the opening, and they had an opportunity to correct it, and they didn't. I guess they were going for the long run, the long game, saying, well, we keep it on here. And then when everybody pits to get off inters, we pit to get off this. Yeah, well, by that time he was down in fucking ninth. With you fucking nuts? It's nuts. So that was annoying, but there's those two things. But McLaren, Lando,
he was right. He was like, you should right. let me buy him, because I can go faster, and he went faster. So that was good to see.
It was like almost 3 laps, and he was 5 seconds ahead.
Yep,
it's perfect. I mean,
he knows that car, and he knows how to drive it quick. And Ricciardo is still warming up to it, and I think it's the same thing with Sainz at Ferrari.
Yes, so
Ricciardo and Sainz, both good drivers, but new to the car. And Yep.
Yeah, we should talk about. Yeah, we'll get into Checo, but I think that was a really good call by McLaren to do that. Happy to see that Ricciardo didn't really fight it too much. He did move over in a good place.
Yeah, just between Tosa and Piratella. Yeah,
Tosa and Piratella, which was perfect. I mean, nobody lost anything. And then I also liked how they basically said, "Hey, Lando, if this doesn't work out, we'll get a swap back."
Yeah,
it was this preset. This is what it is.
That's fair enough. And he told them that he was faster, and he went faster.
Right.
So,
and he went faster.
Yeah, it's good.
He went faster to get,
Remember, he would have been third without started third without getting the time deleted.
Exactly. So, that he did exactly what. So it's Lando is. What McLaren's been saying, and they said, he really has. They noticed it in preseason in testing, and they noticed it in the first race that he's gone to another gear. He has done exactly what you're supposed to do this would be his junior year, technically. If you look at like a high school thing in your junior year, he did his freshman kind of, I'm okay, I'm getting used to it. He did his sophomore of improving. The most difficult year is your second year in F1. It's very difficult. I mean, and he did well. And now in his junior year, going on to his senior, he has taken up to the next level, what they expected. He is a threat. He's a threat.
No, he's established it. He's top dogging him,
right.
He's alpha in him a little bit.
Right.
So.
Exactly. And now that brings up this interesting thing is we'll mix it all together. You look at George Russell. Okay. So should we preface it with the wonderful world of, is Valtteri right or is George right? And how big was Valtteri's middle finger? So we should preface that, and then we'll kind of link it to my little Lando and George Russell thing. All right. So I watched that replay endlessly and live and replay and live and replay endlessly.
Where are you at? Whose fault was it, or racing incident?
I'm going with the old standby German Toto Wolff non-committal statement of it's 50-50. I think it's 50% blame on both of them. I
prefer to say 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
The other. I like my strudel.
That is how I prefer to say it.
My wife is hot. So
my wife drives faster than me sometimes. We switch places and try to scare the shit out of each other on the B roads. In company cars. A Mercedes AMG GTR, very, very good car. Good scare your wife on the B roads. Have you seen them? They've done bits where they
just scare the shit out of each other.
They get in the track. Mercedes sends them out onto the track to make a video, and they swap seats. And I think I gotta find it. There was one where they I think they were doing time. They were doing a time attack against each other. It was good. It was good.
Those two are hilarious.
I just hope that's what they do. They really just try. They really just play chicken with one another and try to just terrorize one another other's emotions out on the B roads.
Sometimes you just
didn't get close enough to that sheep. I got much closer the last time.
Sometimes you just can't fake that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just a married couple that know how to drive, who like fucking with each other endlessly. Because I mean, well, Susie has a very sick sense of humor. If anybody knows that and followed her career and stuff, and just even listen to her talk or how she jokes around and what she says about people, she is a practical joker. She has a sick sense of humor. And I see her with Toto with this very simple, all right, Mr. I'm German, always organized engineer looking bullshit. I'm going to make you fucking turn white in this car. And he just looks and go, you did okay, but I can do better. Watch this now.
Yeah.
Because you know that's what it is.
Competitive
classic.
Toto.
I will go with Toto.
So yeah, 6 of one, half a dozen
50-50.
of the other.
Yeah. So, George had him. George had DRS. George was coming at him, and George was going to pass. Valtteri I wouldn't say he didn't jink. Okay, he didn't jink or any of that.
No, it wasn't a sudden thing. It was gradual enough.
Right. He came over, and I think George saw that, got flustered because it's wet. He knew he was making that pass off of the racing line, off of the dry line, getting into the wet.
George opened the steering.
Yes, a little bit to
go. Just enough.
Just
a single blade of grass.
Yes, I mean, and so I think both of them are
horrible crash.
But this is me speculating shit. So after it developed, and thank God it wasn't as serious as it looked at first, because it could be. When George got out, when he was getting out, I knew what he was going to do. I knew what he was going to go do.
You knew that he was going to confront him? Because I saw the way he was walking at first, and I was like, and I saw the opening of the little like the little break in the barriers, right? Yeah. And I really thought that he was just gonna walk out there, and then he headed towards Valtteri.
Now,
so
when he got out, and he undid himself, pulled himself up, and he starts walking, he stops. Because one of the, the stewards is pointing, oh, no, behind you, walk there. And he's just stopped and went, oh, fuck you, buddy. And I could tell by his body language, he's like, oh, fuck you. You're a steward. You ain't telling me what to fucking do. And he beelined it right there. And of course, Crofty's like, oh, no, with George going to see if Valtteri's okay. I'm like, no, he ain't.
No, he isn't. He doesn't care.
He's out there fucking yelling at him. And he did. And he fucking slapped him on the helmet. And there's Valtteri's finger like, fuck you, bitch.
If you're offended by Valtteri's American Sign Language, I'm very sorry. Yeah, apologies for that, Martin.
This is great. So, yes, George was very emotional about that. And here's my speculation on that is maybe, just maybe, because there's other statements that that George said in post interviews saying, well, if it was any other driver, Valtteri wouldn't have done that, etc. So man. It's either two things. One, that somewhere along the line, maybe, because Toto could do this, join the negotiations to re-sign Valtteri for another fucking year, because that's all they ever do, is they said, this is your year. We need to see something because we can bring other drivers up, aka George. Okay. And maybe Valtteri's kind of like, Jesus, really? And then George knows that, because that conversation might have happened basically saying, hey, you did a great job subbing in, and it's really good to see, and you're definitely our development driver. So, Valtteri's got 1 year left, and we've mentioned to him, we want to see some improvement, but we want to see improvement in you. You can interpret it any which way. I'm probably wrong, but it's that statement you say when it's like, if it was any other driver, he probably wouldn't have done this. Almost indicates it's like he thinks Valtteri sees him as a threat to take his seat next year, and he's like, fuck you. That's one theory of mine. The other theory is he took his mustard. He didn't have any mustard for his fucking biscuits, and old Swing Blade was pissed, and it was like, fuck you. And then George comes up to him, slaps on the head, and go, bitch, I took your fucking mustard. I'm going to take your fucking biscuits too.
Nobody takes my mustard. You don't touch my biscuits.
So.
Oh, nobody touches my biscuits.
I will get you, George Russell. You're gonna pass me. I'm gonna swing.
I'll tell you what. I'm just going to take his mustard.
Yeah, I'm gonna take his mustard, bitch.
I'm just going to take his mustard. I'm going to make a PowerPoint about it.
So and also, yeah, no shit. It just goes on like the back of some.
No, it's a little. I mean, I'm sure obviously he's upset about it. He thinks he was in the right, but it's a little mind games. It's a little bit. Hey, man, I'm coming for you when you're in a car that can win the race, and you're back here in ninth, and then I'm passing you in this piece of shit, which is a better piece of shit than last season.
Right. Exactly,
a better piece of shit
than last year. Yep, it definitely is.
I'm going to pass you in this piece of shit. And then, so yeah.
So with that, now you look at Lando and Russell. So Lando has definitely done exactly what he's supposed to do. Lando was lucky enough or unlucky enough to land a McLaren seat. George is a development driver for Mercedes. He was going to end up with Williams no matter what, because McLaren was not Mercedes powered back then. It's their first year of them being back to Mercedes power, which is this year. So, it's not like George was going to go there. But if you look at the development of Lando, how far he's come, he's getting podiums now. It's probably won't be his last podium of the year in any shape or form. He's got to come, and he is. If you are Toto and you're looking at a replacement for old Swing Blade, hide my mustard, where's my biscuits, and you have George, who definitely showed what he can do in that car. And he's definitely showed what he can do in a shitbox fucking Williams. Okay. But do you look at it and just go, man, I could probably put Lando in here and I'll probably get more podiums out of the first year than it will be with George. But on the flip side, that McLaren is going to keep on being and also this year is the last year of whatever the fuck this is. Okay, they did a quick rule change to fuck with the downforce and stuff. Next year's cars are way different, completely different, brand new rules coming out, etc. So for all we know, McLaren could end up looking like a fucking Sauber, and it just sucks balls.
Be back to 2015 McLaren.
Right, exactly. You just don't know. And maybe that's what Lando looks at and says, well, new rules, who knows what this is? This is my time. This is my time to push, get podium, because I'm looking at the bigger teams and realizing certain things. Valtteri's got a year contract, always gets a year contract. George is up and coming. He could get that. If Checo can't do it in Red Bull, they're probably going to get rid of him. And Red Bull clearly stated last year they are not looking internal for replacements for the big team. That's probably might carry on if Checo can't do the job that they wanted him to do. There's other teams out there, that are big teams other than McLaren, where Lando could look at it and say, hey, this is my time to shine because this car is really doing its shit and I've learned a hell of a lot. And I'm going to put myself out there and say, hey, if Checo can't punch this baby for you, then bring me in. I'll punch that baby right in his goddamn head. You never know, or he stays with, McLaren. I'm just looking at like the devil's advocate thing, just going, if you're looking at the fill a place for old Swing Blade, is it George or is it Lando?
I don't think that it's self-evident to Toto that taking the risk on Lando, bringing somebody from the outside would be necessarily better than bringing George up.
Okay. That makes sense.
Just because he has that experience in that car. He's shown that he can win a race with the car in that exact scenario. And, he's just already in the system. Whereas if you bring on Lando, how long does it take him to come up? Does he necessarily do better than Valtteri has been year one? I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
Is it for sure that he's going to be better than George? I don't know.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
He's doing good, but I think that they've made huge strides in that car as well.
Oh God, they made huge strides in that car.
You've got Ricardo, who's great in his own right, but is still learning to drive the car, coming from the Renault last year. Right. So It's too many unknown quantities at this point.
And that's actually true. If we look at the struggles that Checo is having right now.
And I don't think I think it'll come out by the end of the season. We'll look back and say that he did good, and I think he wins some races. And I think that I think he does well. I don't think he's going to struggle in the car all season, but maybe.
No.
But no, I mean, he did seem to get caught out today by a single blade of grass.
Yes. Single blade.
Excuse me, it was only one blade of grass.
One blade.
It got onto my rear tire and the car go for a spin.
It's like he's definitely struggling in that car, but the Red Bulls historically are hard to drive. The Mercedes are hard to drive too. So after 2 races, I'm not ready to condemn Checo and say, "Oh my God, what did you guys do? It's terrible." He's learning that car. He's probably making mental mistakes. He's so used to driving, the Racing Point, which is now Aston Martin, which used to be, freaking Force India, which used to be fucking, who the hell was it before? It was used to be somebody else. Before, oh God,
is that the one that came out? Well, it was originally Jordan, right?
Yeah, it was Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, he spent so much time in that car. Now he's in this
Spiker after Jordan.
I think it was Spiker.
Yeah.
Whoever listens to this in the recording can correct us. We're not going to give a shit, but go ahead and correct us.
I think it was Jordan, Spiker, Sahara Force India. And then maybe just Force India.
So yeah, it was.
And then Racing Point.
Then Racing Point. And then Aston Martin Racing.
Hey, there we go. Nailed it.
So, yeah, let's take a look real quick because I can pull up.
No, I think that's it. I was just reading about this the other day because my friend that's a new fan was asking me about the teams that used to be other teams.
Yep. And that's so it was Jordan and Midland and Spiker.
Midland. That's one I forgot.
Yeah, Midland was like only 1 year, it's like 2006.
Oh.
And then Spiker was 2007. So yeah, and then from that point it became. Then Spiker had it. Blah blah blah. VG Molly.
Yeah. Bullshit charges against me. No one knows anything.
Oh, it's great. It's great. So yeah, I think Checo is going to be fine. It's hard to write people off after 2 races.
No, I think he'll be fine.
It rained and the car's being weird. He's so used to Force India, what it does, and now he's into this thing which is a little bit has more power, is a little bit more of a bitch to drive, et cetera, et cetera. So I wouldn't write him off. Give him some time, but when you start hearing things, the great key is when you start hearing, why can't I remember his fucking name now? God damn it. Jesus.
Got to give me some clues.
The team principal for Red Bull.
Oh, Christian Horner.
Thank you, Christian Horner. This is what happens when you get old people. Okay, you forget things that are on tip of your tongues.
No, this is what happens when you get a lobotomy.
Yeah, exactly.
Parts of your brain are scrambled wherever you stored team principles.
So,
or you can just be like Alpine. You're just like, hey man, we don't have a leader, man. We're just like we're an anarcho-syndicalist commune. No.
Yeah. For this week's race, the sheep we found in the field behind us is the team principal.
Our team principal is a cat. Have you met Mr. Biggs? He's taking a shit in his litter box over there. Yeah. And he's getting to control he's getting to call team orders. It's really weird.
No, and for this week's Grand Prix, our team principal is Madeline, a 94-year-old fucking hooker that we found on the outskirts of fucking goddamn Paris. That's who she is. Man, wash your shit. Wash it. But
we think that Fernando is adapting to our unorthodox environment, to say the least.
Yes. Give us your 2 thumbs up, Fernando, please, for Christ's sake. We love you.
We gave you a lawn chair, okay? You should be.
Yes, we
did. You should be happy.
You should be happy, man.
Yeah.
So when Christian Horner starts talking stuff like, well, we're going to give him all the effort and all the chances he needs, he's fucked. The moment he says that, it's over. It's so obvious. Because I'm pretty sure that's the same speech he gives to his kids. And his kids probably just go, oh, shit.
Dad, we know we know who the favorite is. Stop acting like...
It's literally, I bet you the kids just go, ah, shit, we're about to get gas lead. It's just, that's it. That's what they know. Oh my God, no.
Why are you sending us to separate schools? It doesn't make any sense. I'm only a year younger. Oh,
wait a minute. I was Daddy's favorite last week. Well, guess what? You got maxed. He brings up the younger one.
Yep.
So I wouldn't write off Checo. I mean, Checo's struggling a bit to get his hands on that car. I think once he does, and
he's a veteran. I think he's going to be fine. Yeah. And regardless of it, he's been driving one car or an evolution of one car for a while. I think he'll get his head around it.
Exactly.
For sure.
with that, we might as well cover, which I will give Lewis. I always give Lewis credit because let's really be honest, guys. Lewis Hamilton is probably one of the
battle with Lando.
Battle of Lando was enjoyable as hell to watch.
It was good. Yeah.
I also love the fact that he was so impatient to pass lapped cars to, after, his.
The Russell. Oh, okay. Yeah. Much earlier in the race.
Boom, boom. And he was passing. And then all of a sudden he wiped, he basically ran, he basically lost it in one round.
Well, they were in the situation where they were on slicks and they had the one dry line and then he goes off the dry line.
Right.
And it's just like, oh, this car has no steering at all. It doesn't matter how slow I go. If I don't come to a stop, it goes straight. And that's a bit of a problem if you're trying to make a pass.
Yeah. And he basically said that was me. I was impatient as shit. Yeah. And it's it. But it also shows, which there's a lot of Lewis haters out there. There's a lot of haters of any F1 driver, which is fine. You guys can hate, but you can't take away the talent. Okay. There's talent in that driver. And yes, a lot of people go, well, for all you F1 people that have been watching F1 for years and years and years and years, as you say, then you should fucking know already the dominant team tends to be fucking dominant. Holy fucking shit. How is that possible?
What?
Because not one of those motherfuckers out there would sit there and go, well, the only reason why Michael Schumacher won all them fucking races is because of the fucking Ferrari.
Yeah, which was kind of, I mean, I don't want to say kind of true, but more recognized in the day that just how dominant that car was.
That Ferrari was almost unbeatable.
And now when you look back on it, it's like, well, especially with everything that happened to him later, it was like, oh, he was so great. And he was.
And he is.
But
he was.
He can't. But he also was in a great car. Both things are true.
But that's what happens. You see, that's what happens when you develop that car and you keep on developing and developing and developing, and you realize this ain't wrong. This is fix this. We don't have to fix that. When you're not coming from behind, when there's not a lot of rule changes in there from year to year, only minor ones. Because, in F1, there's rule changes to do this, but then they rarely, every 10 years or so, they do the big, let's just fuck with everything again and do a reset. Yeah. So if you win 7 world championships, it's not because of the fucking car. Okay? Because you still have to be good enough to drive that ragged ass on the line, almost killing you piece of shit, because they are. They're not these performance wonderful cars that are out there. And then of course people say, well, look at George Russell. Right, because George Russell can drive an F1 car. You can't, you fucking moron. So if I put your ass in that fucking car, you're going to be dead. That's how it's going to work, because it's not the car. It's not like you sit a driver in the car and the car goes, bah, bah, bah. Don't worry about it, Michael. Hit turbo boost. Okay, it doesn't fucking do that. Doesn't solve crimes. It doesn't have a flashing red light on the front. It doesn't fucking call you Michael and his name is not Kit. Okay, you fucking morons.
Gentlemen, a view to the past.
Yes.
Nicky Lauda said, "You can throw." I forget the whole thing. I'm sorry. I should have brought it up. But it's what the guy was saying, that it's like that you throw a monkey. You could train a monkey to drive a Formula One car.
Yeah.
And it's not. Yeah, it doesn't drive. The thing doesn't drive itself. It's actually quite difficult to operate. And not only that, really but you have to be extremely ginger with the throttle inputs, because it has, even the ones that were naturally aspirated are incredibly peaky, and it has a parabolic torque curve that just builds and builds and builds until there's no time at all until it overwhelms the tires with how you set it up, and you are you're gonna meet Senna soon. Is what happens,
right? Exactly.
And he's gonna call, and he's gonna tell you how dumb you are for driving so badly.
He's to say you're
because it took a mechanical failure to kill him. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So with Lewis, what happened? He took blame. He knew what he did. That recovery drive from that, yes, the safety car saved his ass, and it did. But that happens. Okay, there's not. You cannot take away the fact that he had one hell of a recovery drive to get from where he was in ninth. Okay, a lap down, unlapped himself, of course, because, he was still a lap down because of the safety car. The safety car just tightened the field up so he could unlap himself, which he did. And off he went. And Lando fought him. Lando didn't lay down and go, "Oh, it's the great Lewis Hamilton, pip, pip, motherfucker." He fought him.
What I think was so cool is after he was all bummed out after he got his time deleted, and posted a picture of him, addressing it on Instagram with him sitting there, looking bummed out or whatever. And then Lewis commented on it like, "Hey, it's no problem. We all make mistakes. Let's just race it out tomorrow." And they had a tough battle there.
Right.
It was good.
To me, it's perfect. So that was good. I mean, it just gives you an idea of how tough this season is going to be for Mercedes. It really is. And then, with Valtteri qualifying like a sack of shit, it was like, dude. And he just did not have a race. And obviously, whatever, we already talked about it, but the nonsense between them both,
Wait a second though, because I found I was scrolling Formula Dank, and now it's on. Now you talked relevant. I just always love this format, but Russell,
there you go
with the Doge hitting him with the bat. Russell, you okay? Botas, yeah. Russell, bonk.
It's so great. It's so great. It's so great. It's so
Reddit.com/r/Formula Dank. Good.
Yeah, just go do it, guys.
If you're listening to this, you will have a good time on that website.
Yeah. So other than that, I mean, those are kind of the highlights of the race. And of course, Mick Schumacher, when he was warming up his tires under the first safety car, and like at the end of the pit lane, tagged it, and you could tell he was upset by it. And then,
I didn't get to see that one. That's how you.
He did exactly what almost everybody does. He was weaving to put, get the tires hot on the safety car, and he just overcorrected, and it swapped ends on him. He tagged the wall, broke the nose, and because of where he did it, poor bastard, they closed pit entry.
Oh yeah,
as he did at pit exit. So of course the debris is there, and they go, well, and so
somebody else did the Eric Andre let me in with
so him. He had to go all the way around twice, so two laps before they opened up pit entry. Okay, which was funny because Crofty was just like, "Oh, and the pits are back open," and he basically was like, "The pits are back open," and here comes Mick Schumacher, pitting because he calls the pit lane to be closed. It's just like, fuck yeah, like rub it in, bitch. So that sucked. But the whole thing about Mick is, let's really be honest. He's at Haas for a reason, is because Ferrari said, Gene, You're putting Mick in that seat because we want to see what we got there because he's a Ferrari driver, and we're probably going to put him in the Alfa Romeo next year. So let's get him some seat time. And Gene probably started to open his mouth, and then the mafia people, alleged mafia people, that in the Ferrari team, alleged Giuseppe and Bimbo, they just sat him down and went, what are you going to do there, Gene? Oh, yeah, I'm going to let him drive the car. Yeah, that's right, motherfucker. And then there was the end of that. We all know what that seat's for because Ferrari has the option to option that seat. Mick's going to be an Alfa Romeo next year. They just want to see if he can handle an F1 car, even though it's the shittiest F1 car on the fucking grid. They want to see, are you able to do this? Drive it correctly, listen to the team, give feedback, try to improve the car, and then we'll move you up because we're getting rid of one of them.
It has to be exceedingly horrible, even though both guys, both drivers are rookies. It has to be exceedingly horrible now that they both can't seem to keep a hold of the thing.
That car must be like driving.
Because as bad as what? Sorry.
Honestly, I would say probably as bad as like, a 1970s 911 turbo in the rain with oil all over the place. That's how bad it, you must just feel that rear end always wanted to swap on you. Like it's whispering in your ear, Mick, I'm going to swap ends. I am. No reach around either, Mick. I'm just going to do it. Here I come. I did it the marzipan.
Am I going to do it? Am I going to do it this corner? Huh? Am I going to wait?
Oh, no. Oh, yeah. I thought you could do it, but I wasn't.
I almost did it.
That's right. I like you better than marzipan. Maybe I'll make you my bitch. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Here I come. I mean, that's what it does.
It's just the spirit of North Carolina hillbillies.
yes.
Just like they're just methed up and they're gonna.
It makes you wonder if he plays banjo music right before it fucking swaps on you.
We sent these cars out into the woods for a few days, and I think they got some kind of hillbilly curse put on them or something. Gene says that is bullshit, but I'm pretty sure something happened because you don't just send Formula One cars out into the woods for a few days for no reason. All right, Gene was super secretive about it. He wouldn't tell us anything. All right,
that's so true. It's so true.
So I think we got to the bottom of Haas's issues. So that's good.
There it is. They have a deliverance car. It's as simple as that works, everybody. Okay. And unfortunately, Burt Reynolds is dead. So there's no saving it. There's no saving that car. It's over.
So yeah. After the race, our friends Lance Stroll and Kimi Räikkönen got post-race penalties.
Yes.
For different reasons.
Yes.
Stroll, they said, gained a lasting. It made past someone. I actually forgot who it was.
Gasly. So he overtook Gasly with a maneuver he was not able to complete on the track, and basically he shortcutted the chicane. So
I thought maybe he just hung it on the outside of Paratella turn 9. So he cut the chicane. Oh, okay, well that's pretty cut and dry. You got to give it back if you cut the chicane.
Yeah. And then with Kimi,
he didn't enter the pit lane at the right. He didn't enter the pit lane when he should have on the red flag.
No, I think it was because I know he was under investigation for illegal procedure in the safety car. Here we go. Here, I found it. Wow, this is just weird.
It was a very procedural.
Okay, here. Yeah, it's a procedural thing, even though there's contradictions in their actual rules, but for consistency, they decided to give him. So basically, Kimi spun the Alfa Romeo at turn 3 on the first lap behind the safety car, losing his position of 8th. Although F1 rules dictate that the driver may retake his position so long as he does not so prior to the first safety car line. So not to confuse this with what Checo got nailed for, because that was already under safety car when Checo ran off the road and then overtook his spots. Even though the rules dictate the driver may retake his position so long as it doesn't apply the safety car line. If not, he must enter the pit lane and can only rejoin the race once the whole field is past the pit exit. So kind of convoluted rules. It is FIA, so there are some convoluted rules. So that's why Kimi was.
That's the problem with saying that, with complaining that they're not consistent. It's also complicated. The layman can't understand if they're being consistent or inconsistent.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things, even though it said right here, so the stewards issuing a 30-second penalty rather than a 10-second stop and go, which is the same fucking thing, basically, especially at Imola. It's like a 37-second fucking penalty because it's going to take you 27 seconds to get down pit and 10 seconds sitting in your box.
Yeah.
It had been made, actually, penalty admitted that there were corrections with the circumstances detailed above, that the rule requiring a car to enter the pit lane if it fails to regain its positions is consistent among several championships, has been in the FIA Formula One sporting regulations for several years, and has been consistently applied. So when I read that, the only thing I hear is blah, 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 bullshit, blah, 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 bullshit, basically. Blah, 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 bullshit. So, but unfortunately, in racing rules, there are a lot of rules that they write because they're like, well, if this happens, we need a rule. And it rarely happens. When it does, they go, ah, shit. And they just go, fuck it, apply it.
Yeah.
So both of them got nailed. Legitimately, Lance got nailed because he did cut the corner and he did cut through the chicane and he did gain over his space and he didn't give it back because he's a filthy Canadian. And he smells like poutine. So that's what happens. People are going to hate us. But yeah, those two got nailed.
So the only other thing I wanted to find out,
yes,
is this echoes of 2012 already with only 2 races in? And I say that because, well, less significantly, we have 2 GPs with 2 different winners, and that trend can continue or it can't. But I would say that it's entirely possible that in the next few races we get a Checo win. We could get a Sling Blade win.
Yes.
We could even, if it's crazy, we could get a Lando Norris or Daniel Ricciardo win. So if we continue down this road of having different winners of the GPs, but mostly because top 8 in qualifying within half a second.
Right.
8 cars, half a second.
8 cars, half a second.
So is it echoes of the 2012 season where, of course, we had very far, half to 3/4 of the way into the season had 4 or 5 contenders for the championship.
We did. Yeah, because basically we had.
I don't even need that. I would just like a really good battle between Verstappen and Hamilton.
Yeah,
that would be that. I would take that.
Yeah, it's like a separation of one or 2 points going into like at least the 15th race of the season.
Right.
And
it was really close because it's still very close between. I don't know the points. I'm sure we can figure it out. But
1 point. It's 1 point.
There's the 1 point difference between them because and Hamilton took it because he got the fastest lap.
Right.
It came down to that.
Tied. Yeah, it came down to that. But even just looking at that 2012 season, I'm just like, there were so many different winners. I mean, it was never consistent at all. It was just
it was wild. You had Alonso in there with Ferrari, Vettel with Red Bull. Was McLaren was good in those days too, right? McLaren, so you had Jenson Button and I can't remember who was Jensen's teammate then. Still Lewis, right?
Yeah. So
Lewis's first year was 2013 with Mercedes. So he was still been at McLaren. Yeah, so you had like 3 really competitive teams that could win races.
Yeah. So basically the first so it kind of cleaned up. It started getting somewhat consistent right about the 10th race, after the 10th race. Because basically, I'll just go through the first. So you had Jensen, Fernando, Nico, So these are the winners of each race. So Jensen in Australia, Malaysia.
Oh yeah, and Mercedes was competitive in those days too.
And then
with
Chinese Grand Prix was Nico, and then Bahrain was Vettel. Spanish was the only win. Well, I can't believe that Crash Romano run, but yes, he run the Spanish Grand Prix, and then Weber for Monaco, Lewis for Canadian, Fernando for European, Mark for British, Fernando for German. So it started settling out right about
what was
there.
European GP in those days?
In that year, it was, let's see.
Can't remember. It wasn't Turkey.
Let me see. No, it was. Let me see what the hell it was.
It wasn't Imola.
I hate when
there was no Baku in those days.
So it was in Spain.
Oh, was it Valencia?
No, California. Here.
Really?
Yeah. So it was in Madrid.
Oh, no way.
No, hold on. No, sorry. No.
Okay.
No. That's who sponsored it.
Okay, thank God.
Oh, you assholes. Come on. Why are you doing this bullshit to me?
Valencia, yeah. Valencia Street
Valencia.
Circuit. Oh, okay.
Yep.
There we go. Hey, I got it right though. I said Valencia. Okay, cool. Cool. Good.
So it started settling out right about then, and then essentially this is where it was done. You had Lewis, Jensen, Lewis, and then Seb took 4 in a row. 1 win for Kimi, then Lewis, and then Jensen to finish it off. So that's how 20. I mean, I am hoping it would be nice by 10 races that we've had at least, because there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
It's possible that we have 5 winners, I think. Because I think because all the
different winners.
All the drivers from Mercedes. All right, I really think it could end up this way. All 4 drivers from Mercedes and Red Bull win a race. Yes. And then crazy shit goes down one race and you got Lando or Ricardo taking it.
Exactly.
So that can, I think or even AlphaTauri, if they get their shit together and don't fuck up the tires.
Right. Exactly.
You can't depend on Italians to do anything. Let me tell you. No,
there's only 3 things Italians know how to do correctly. That's extort money.
They're good at it.
Yeah. Make food.
Yeah, good at that.
And basically the other thing is basically just not really give a shit about fucking anything. Period. From the hours of noon to 3, don't give a shit.
Just being incredibly unconscientious.
It's like, hey, I'm hungry. Hey, fuck off. There you go. So yeah, actually, it would be nice to see a 2012 season again, because honestly, in the first 10 races, you had 7 different drivers that won.
Yeah,
that's like huge. That's great. And this just goes to show you that there is a chance, for the simple reason that good old, Pastor Maldonado won a fucking race, that there's a very good chance that you'll get a first, it would have to be some kind of miracle that every single car crashed out, but maybe George can win a race in the Williams.
And you know what? I guess I'm probably not giving enough credit to Ferrari because they're thereabouts too. They can be it's going to be, I think, I hope at least a tight battle between AlphaTauri, Ferrari, and McLaren for that.
It will be
third spot. It will
be. I mean, honestly, you can already smell it, because basically, Lando fought like he was going to fight, but Lando didn't fight as much as he wanted to, because the team said, hey, keep Lewis behind you as long as you can, but do not endanger our position ahead of the Ferrari, because we are challenging them. We are challenging Ferrari, because Ferrari cannot challenge Red Bull and cannot challenge Mercedes. There are meat. That's who we're going after.
And I know that he would have, because I've personally witnessed Lando Norris on iRacing. He will pretty much take the car in front of him out at the final corner of the final lap if he has to. I've seen him do it. He did it to one of the more well-known iRacing streamers named Matt Malone. It was very funny. So, if do you know the Charlotte Roval course?
Yeah.
So they're driving Miatas, right? And you know how that chicane is at the end.
Yeah.
You can kind of send it really fast around the outside, which becomes the inside.
Yeah,
for that other corner, which I've done too. I have a good clip of me. I have a good clip of me door banging the shit out of somebody coming into that, but I didn't do it as hard as Lando did to Matt Malone, and it was so funny because of course it's Matt's stream, so you can see him. You can the camera's on him and you can see him looking in his rearview mirror and he goes, no Lando, don't do it, and then bang hits the wall and he's like, and he just pauses there and he just goes, fucking dick.
Yeah, so that's their meat. So that's going to be a 3-way battle if AlphaTauri can not make certain mistakes, like, hey, don't worry, Pierre, we'll just keep you on those fucking wets for as long as humanly possible.
And of course, the next race is at Portimao, so we have a good track to look forward to. It was good. It was good last year. Chris Harris has been out there warming up the track for us, laying down some rubber. So that's good. That's gonna be really good. Have that in 2 weeks' time, and there's plenty of other racing going on this weekend, which and next weekend too. So I'm sure we'll have something to talk about next weekend, whether it be some IndyCar at Barber, a little MotoGP, a little return of the legend Marc Marquez. Yes. His bum arm is back.
Yes, his back.
He healed his arm. He's got a robot arm, and he's not scared, and he's ready to put that Honda on the very edge.
Yeah,
so
he's ready to go. He's got robot arm.
So we'll be back. And all in all, enjoyable. I liked it. It was good today.
Yeah, it was very good today. It was a good race, and next one will be good because Portimao's amazing track, so definitely watch it. I guess I just want to close it out. My one thing is, oh God, we got to have a Miami GP.
Oh yeah. We're gonna do it, and you can buy and all of the tickets are gonna be NFTs on the blockchain because Miami is crypto city. You can buy your tickets in Bitcoin.
Yep.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. Logan Paul and Jake Paul they're gonna be there.
I'm just like
sponsored by the Miami 2022 Miami GP presented by Gemini Crypto Exchange.
I'm just
it's gonna be good. But hey, they got it's around the state. Well, they had been talking about around the
date.
Oh, the date. Because I don't know. It'll be close to Coda, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's gonna piss Coda off something fierce.
No. But whatever. At least they picked Texas and Florida to have their F1 races. And that's nice.
That's true. So we'll see what that brings. So other than that, it's a pretty good race. So I got nothing else to bitch about, to be honest with you.
Sling Blade's still looking for his mustard. That's what happened.
Still looking for his mustard and biscuits. Yep.
So I'm pretty sure if you do find his mustard that George Russell stole, please return it to him. Yes. He needs it badly.
He's lost without it. He's lost without it, I tell you. He's totally lost without it. Right now, he's on the phone to his wife. I stole my mustard. And she's like, hey,
you can come down. Come down to Italy, bring me more mustard. George stole mustard and then he crashed into me.
He did a Kimmy. He hates me like Kimmy hates me.